What's up, everybody? I am late, but I still am here. What's up, everybody? Oh gosh, these glasses are gonna fall apart probably during this stream. I don't know. We're gonna see. They crooked in everything. Which way is they crooked? This way? Okay. Do I look like I'm smart? You know what? Let me take these damn glasses off because they ain't gonna do nothing but break and embarrass my ass in the middle of this doggone stream. Let me take them off. Hi, everybody. I'm a very happy person today. You want to know why I'm so happy? Because we saved Prodigy, y'all. We saved Prodigy. We're going to get into that and other things. Uh, New York Comic Con was this past week, maybe this week. I don't forgot when it was. But we'll talk about some of the revelations, if you want to call them that we got from out of Comic Con. We are also going to talk about a pretty darn decent episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. Let me make sure my hair, see my hair be doing this thing. So yeah, we're going to talk about a pretty darn decent episode of Star Trek Lower Decks as well. Not a jam-packed week for Star Trek news, unless you're into the games and all of that. And I'm not. I'm not. You got other creators. Yeah, Claire's Prodigy has been saved. We did it. We did some good in the hood, in the intergalactic hood. So yeah, some people were far more instrumental in saving Prodigy. I think to our friend Geek Filter, he was part of that conglomerate who put the sign in the sky, the message from God that said we need to save Star Trek Prodigy. He was amongst those. So we do have a representative of somebody who really did a lot to keep Prodigy alive. I'm very proud of the effort on behalf of the fans. Nope, I don't want to share the screen. Let's not do that. Cancel. Yeah, I I gotta load my slides up here because today we're doing pictures with the babies, and let's see, we're doing pictures with the babies. Hence my message shirt. I have two titles, Mom and Gigi, and I rock them both. Yes, sir. So I had to not look like a wildebeest again this week. So while our slides are loading, how's everybody's week went? Everybody survived Friday the 13th, I suppose. Now, if you're into darker history and true crime and all of that, I have another podcast that I do. It's called Sinister Silhouettes. You can find it wherever podcasts are served. And I did an episode that talked about the history of Friday the 13th, why it's thought to be a bad luck sign, and also some tragedies that occurred. So to make people think. So if you're into that kind of thing, look me up on all the podcast platforms because I'm there. I'm there for your enjoyment. Let's get into a few badges more before they start calling me talking about, you got you on the baby's time when we try to do photo shoots and whatnot. The babies set the schedule. So when the babies are ready, I got to be ready. So let's make a move and get through this live stream. Like I said, pretty darn decent episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. We saw some movement on the plot, which I truly enjoyed. But before we get into that, let's talk about what's on the top of all of our minds right now, which is Star Trek Prodigy. Yay! Star Trek Prodigy is going to Netflix, y'all. And we got some very heartfelt messages from the creators of Star Trek Prodigy and from Catherine Janeway herself, Kate Mulgrew. We're going to take a look at their statements, starting with the Hagmans, Dan and Kevin Hagman, put out a statement that says, "Thank you to our incredible Star Trek Prodigy fans who championed not just the show, but a community that's always been connected by the belief that we build a better future together. We set out to inspire you, but you inspired us. The team is still hard at work on the second season. We can't wait to share it with the amazing fans around the world." So we know that later on this year, we don't have a specific date just yet, but that's fine. We know it's coming. It will be back on Netflix. We will be able to see the first season completely there, all 20 episodes for our enjoyment. It is going to be very important that if you have Netflix, we need to watch Star Trek Prodigy on Netflix, or we don't want them to feel like they wasted their time saving this animated series, this piece of Star Trek history for us. Yeah. Clarence is like, I'm gonna state the obvious. We could have avoided all the brouhaha if they had just planned this better. And I agree. Things could have, if they were not going to be committed to doing what was right by Prodigy, why even introduce it to us? But okay, they did. They introduced us to it. We fell in love with the characters. We hope that it speaks to a younger generation. And then y'all gonna pull the plug on it. Y'all gonna pull the plug on this show. And at least we will get it on Netflix. But I don't have Netflix anymore. And guess what? Before I get to Kate Mulgrew's statement that she put out, they talking about raising the prices of Netflix again after the actors strike is over. Now I don't know how reliable the source is on that piece of information, but if they continue to raise the prices of Netflix, it's starting to become, I might as well to go back and get cable and say forget streaming and just watch things on regular cable. Y'all tell me how y'all feel. If you are a Netflix subscriber right now, I can't afford to have it right now because I'm a little bit bougie when it comes to commercials in streaming. I feel like if I'm paying for a service, I don't want to see the commercials. So I don't want this ad-supported tier of Netflix. I just don't. It ain't gonna kill me to watch a few ads, but I am a little bougie about stuff like that. I am. If they raise the price for Netflix, they are pricing it out of range for a lot of people. I understand that inflation is a thing, and we are experiencing that thing in full swing. But Netflix just raised prices in 2022. It doesn't seem fair to continue to raise prices on a product when it's not much else changing about the product. So you guys tell me what you think about that. I'm gonna pick up the comments here from Clarence and Miss Powell. Hey girl, glad to see you. Glad to see your face into place. Clarence says this transition was mishandled for sure. The transition, the entire project, if you ask me, and nobody did, but if you ask me, the entire project was mishandled because they weren't committed. But then as well, like Clara said, the transition was mishandled also. In a perfect world, we probably wouldn't have even known that all of this was going on behind the scenes. However, we kind of felt like we needed to save Prodigy, and we wanted to feel like we were part or instrumental in the decision to bring Prodigy back. And here we are. I'm happy to see that it's back. I don't want to complain too much because we were in a position where we thought that this was gone forever. Let's see. Miss Powell said, I wonder if the Nickelodeon ratings weren't there. And that was like the double-edged sword because they were marketing this for children first and foremost, and Nickelodeon is their arm that they are reaching out to the children with. So maybe that's a distinct possibility. They're not sharing that piece of information with us, and who knows why, because we may have been able to do something about that a whole lot sooner. But maybe they were like, okay, it's not speaking to kids, and that's who we wanted it to speak to, so we're gonna pull the plug. That's a very distinct possibility, Miss Powell. You make a very good point, or you raised a very good question. And then Claire says, I think all streaming services are going to go up after the strike. And it's one thing for them to go up. It's something entirely different for this to become the norm. And I'm saying the norm because we saw it with Hulu, Disney, but we also saw Hulu and Disney combined. So you can get Hulu. When you get Hulu, you got Disney. So I think the prices you can get Disney standalone, but when you get Hulu, you get Disney. And to me, it almost makes it worth it. It almost makes it okay. Netflix is just Netflixing. They feel like they have a stronghold on the market of streaming. They have some hell of a series. Their movies have been hit or miss, but the series are usually generally okay. The straight to Netflix stuff sometimes hit or miss. And I haven't watched Netflix. Again, I don't have it anymore. So I can't speak to what the series and movies are like over the last year. But when I had Netflix, movies were hit and miss. Even the series were hit and miss as far as original programming. But they had some hell of a series, documentaries, stuff that I'm kind of interested in. They were that was speaking my language until the prices kind of went up. Miss Powell says that's what happened to Star Wars Resistance years ago. Not enough ratings on Disney Channel. And I'm not familiar with that series, Star Wars Resistance, but I can see how it can happen, and I can see how it could very well be exactly what happened with a Star Trek Prodigy. Even though I start to feel like, and I don't know about Star Wars Resistance, like I said, but I start to feel like the show was marketed towards children, but you had a very, I would think, and this is from, layperson sitting at the crib, leaning, drinking my iced tea and watching Star Trek Prodigy. You had a robust interest from adults in Star Trek Prodigy. The stories, while they had a message and while they were marketed towards children, adults were on board. And I don't know if we were on board because it was Star Trek or because it was a well done animated series and it stayed true to what Star Trek's mission is. So y'all tell me what you think. Did you think the audience, the intended audience, wasn't interested? Or do you think that the adult audience should have made up for it? Netflix, be Netflixing. We're going to put that on a t-shirt or something. Clarence is agreeing with Miss Powell. Great point about Resistance, but I think the difference with Resistance was that Star Wars fans didn't love it. So, again, I'm not familiar. Y'all know I jumped on the Star Wars as far as the more recent entries. I think it was 2020 when I finally watched the prequels, and then I got completely caught up. The only thing that I had watched up to 2020 was the original trilogy. And then in 2020, I was doing the podcast after the snap. I was doing it, and I said, well, make me a Jedi. I had some friends from a podcast called From A to Geeks. I think they are defunct now. And in fact, I know they pretty much, from the iteration that I was really close with as far as creators go, that is defunct. They have a whole new shebang going, right? But they were big in Star Wars. So I had a series called Make Me a Jedi, and they made me one. They made me a Jedi. I fell in love with what happened after the original trilogy, whether it's set before in the timeline or not. If it was made after the original trilogy, I didn't see it. So I watched that, watched the prequels. I'm unlike a lot of people. I enjoyed the prequels. Call me crazy. Maybe it's because I picked it up so late. And I really did. I liked the last set of movies as well. So there are people who complained about it and all this stuff. And I get it, especially if you are truly invested. I've gotten far more invested in Star Wars lately. So y'all keep me hip to what went on in the fandom during the years that I was dormant. But so yeah, Star Trek Prodigy has made it to Netflix. We got the Hagman statement. Now we're going to get Kate Mulgrew's statement. She said, "I have always held that the Star Trek fan base is among the strongest and most intelligent in the world. They have shown their collective passion, and we're happy to be able to celebrate Prodigy once again." So excited. Ooh. Win Grace, glad to see you. Thank you. You won't be free for another half an hour. That's okay. You made me laugh in your review, dude. So if I'm not here, I should be here in a half an hour. But if I'm not here in a half an hour, that part where you were talking about your favorite Alexander episode, and you was like, "This is my favorite Alexander episode." The bar's not set very high. Man, I must have fell out of my chair. That's not a very high bar. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed your review as well, and I agree with you on certain points. You raised some things that I hadn't thought about. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, so Kate Mulgrew is happy, and if Kate Mulgrew is happy, damn it, I'm happy. I am excited for the cast and crew of Star Trek Prodigy, because their hard work, especially on this season that they were already working on, did not go to waste. We've seen the plug get pulled on some projects, and the projects never saw the light of day. This is not going to be one of them. We will at least get season 2, and if we watch Star Trek Prodigy on Netflix, then we'll probably we could possibly, potentially, hopefully see more seasons of Star Trek Prodigy. I'm looking forward to it. Somehow, I'm gonna have to probably get that ad-supported tier just so I can watch Prodigy. Yeah. What else was I about to say? Oh, we were talking a long time. It's been about a month or two at least. Spiderwick. Why can't I say this word? Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Spiderwick Chronicles. There it is. Gosh, I should have done my little mouth exercises before I saw la 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 la. I should have did all the seashells by the seashore. Okay, Spiderwick Chronicles that had gotten the plug pulled on it over at Disney Plus was picked up by Roku. God, I almost forgot. Yeah, so I'm not a big Spiderwick Chronicles person, don't remember a whole lot about it. However, I am so glad. Yeah, thank you. I gotta fix my mouth right. Girl, I don't know what's wrong with me today. Honestly, really and truly, I don't. Maybe I'm just hungry. All I had to eat today was a cup of coffee, so we can start with that. And y'all know I'm on medication. I need to be taking. Speaking of which, I need to be eating, but I don't eat. And I'm gonna take my medicine. But I'm not a big Spiderwick Chronicles person, but I'm glad to know that the hard work of that cast and crew was not wasted. We have seen um, far too often here lately, it seems, people getting their projects pulled after these huge announcements and getting everybody excited about it. It's one thing if we didn't even know it was coming. It's something entirely different. And you get my mouth watering for a series, and then you tell me, "Oh, series, nope, it's a no go. We're not doing it." Yeah, I don't appreciate or like that. And vice versa, Miss Powell. Miss Powell says, I wonder if the smaller streamers will go back to just producing shows and selling to the big streamers, and vice versa. I think um, I think that that is where we're headed. You are definitely on to something. And I think it's going to happen in reverse too, where some of these big streamers who said, oh, we're going to hoard our content over here. I think they realize that, hey, we ain't making no money if we don't move these series around unless somebody else get a license for them after their run on our streamer. So I think we're going to see some moving parts very soon. As a matter of fact, we're already seeing it. We probably are missing the forest for the trees, but there are going to be some moves made, just like you're speaking about, uh, in order for these streamers to become profitable. Because while they might be making money and they can stay afloat, profit is the name of the game. They are all Ferengis. Each and every one of these streaming services, studios, all of them, Ferengi. And Clarence is also seconding that emotion. I am going to take my medication while we move to New York Comic Con. And New York Comic Con introduced us also to that Star Trek and Kid Cudi collaboration. I listened to the song, y'all. Clarence knows because he's on the Discord. I listened to the song and I was not impressed. And I misspoke last week. I think last week I was talking about Kid Cudi songs, and I said Day and Night, which is really a Kid Cudi song. Then I mentioned Drive Slow Homie. That is not a Kid Cudi song, and that ain't even the song I was thinking about. The song I was thinking about was Kick Push, and that ain't even a freaking Kid Cudi song. That's a Lupe Fiasco. So I had them all mixed up, y'all, because I got to looking at Kid Cudi's uh um music portfolio, and I'm like, these ain't the songs I thought. I remember Day and Night because, like I said, Quintel, my son, used to just play the freaking heck out of that song, and it was so many different versions of it, and he would play every version of it one after the other after the other. So that was the Kid Cudi, but I misspoke last week when I said the other one, Kick Push. No, Kick Push was what I was thinking of, but I said Drive Slow Homie. I'm gonna take this medicine real quick, y'all. Okay, so hopefully that regulates things a little bit. Maybe I'll feel a little better. Um, they are all selling the shows to the fast networks. Yes, and are we getting another fast network? What did I read? Essence, Ebony. Ebony is talking about a fast network that is basically catered to a black audience or marketed towards a black audience. And let me tell you, I know this is not the weekly wrap up, the show that I used to do where I talked about all things entertainment. That if you guys want that back, put that in the chat. We'll consider doing the weekly wrap up again. But I'm not a big fan of stuff that they market towards a black audience and then they make the shows very one-dimensional, if you know what I mean. I mean, they're gonna put a bunch of reality-ish on there, and I'm not a fan. And then they have All of the shows that have male leads are usually about some drugs. Not a big fan. And this is not to say this is what Ebony is going to do. This is me saying these are the types of things that I have noticed in the past when we start talking about these shows that are marketed towards a Black audience. Make some smart shows. Anytime Lovecraft Country exists, anytime oh gosh, oh what is there are a myriad of them, and right now I'm reaching. Y'all know, and put in the chat if you could think of some great shows that are not about drugs, and they're not, not about and it's not unnecessary drama, just unnecessary messiness. Not reality TV. Put some smart shows in the chat. Them. That's another one. From, I think that's another one. These are shows that are smart, that can be marketed towards a Black audience instead of continuously giving us stuff that reinforces stereotypes about Black people, whether it be loud, obnoxious, overbearing women, men who the only way out of quote unquote the hood is to kill the people around your neighbors with drugs and the violence that sometimes comes with drugs. Y'all tell me some smart shows, because I know y'all a smart audience. Clarence said the intro was way too long, but he liked the rest. I'm gonna have to let that song grow on me. And Clarence shared also in our Discord that I just saw. I saw it kind of as we were sliding into going live here. He shared a behind the scenes with Kid Cudi. I watched some of it, and because of the Fortnite game and the character that Kid Cudi portrays in that Fortnite game, it's possible that that's why the intro was so long. Is that because it's going to be part of this game? It just didn't hit me, and I'm agreeing with Miss Powell. It was a boring song to me. So maybe I need to listen to it again and it might grow on me. Or if I were a gamer, it would make a little bit more sense to me. But just as far as just regular old lady listening to music, it was like, all right, it was all right. And it wasn't even all right. It was okay. Miss Powell said the Fortnite game appearance is more promising for the young folks. Yeah, and the gamers. It is like it's some people who are true gamers who gonna play anything. We had, and I ain't saying that y'all play anything. We had Clarence and Angus in the Discord, and they were talking about that. What is the name of the game, Clarence? What is the name of the game? I got to go to it and look and see what that game was called. They were sharing that this game is just full of bugs. They put the game out. It is not a Fortnite. It's whatever. It's whatever the last Star Trek game that came out. What is it called? Infinite. Star Trek Infinite. Star Trek Infinite, I guess, had the potential to be a promising game for the gamers, and then they came out and the ish wasn't ready. And it's crashing and it's setting people back. They get so far into the game, and then some things happen, and they end up losing their progress. So, I'm not a gamer, but there are some people out there who truly our age, in the middle aged category, who play these games and would give it an opportunity. And I think Fortnite might be one of them, but definitely Kid Cudi hopefully brings with him some kind of audience, because if we got to have a competition between the Rihanna song, which I finally looked up, I shared with everybody on Discord as well. I keep talking about the Discord, and I didn't put a link in the description because I keep forgetting. But the Rihanna song that Miss Powell reminded me of last week, I still, even after I watched the video, Still don't remember the song. Still don't. However, the song was dope. The video was fantastic. So, yeah, this Kid Cudi pales in comparison to that. Pales in comparison. Let's see. Clarence says, I am down for I'm down for WW while Trek is offline until disco. What are we talking about? What's WW? Help me. I'm pretty sure it's something that it should be real easy for me to figure out, and I can't. I'm down for WW while Trek is offline until disco. Ms. Powell says, Black culture is not monolithic. Those shows never appealed to me. You know, there was a younger Tasha, and by younger, I mean even up to the Power. When we get into Power on Stars, when we got there, I was still watching that ish. I'm gonna lie. And then I don't know what made it, what light switch went off. Like, why does everything have to be about this? Why can't we have a show that is both, that's not making a mockery of our culture, not feeding into the stereotypes? And yeah, I found myself on the outside looking in for the people that the people that I know, the people who really know Tasha. I found myself on the outside looking in because I stopped finding the shows appealing, just like you. Well, you say you never found them appealing. It was just like at some point, the switch went off, and I was like, this ain't good TV. We're being forced to believe it's good TV because that's all they keep serving us. And I was off of Tyler Perry long before I got off of Power and all of that. And then people say, oh, you should watch Snowfall, you should watch this, but it's all perpetuating the exact same myth that this is Black culture. So a person who has never met any Black people, which they do exist, they're out there. If this is the example that they got, and they keep seeing on TV and movies and the such, that this is these are Black people, this is what they do, they're gonna believe it. And I'm not saying that I'm making an excuse for people to have negative stereotypes about Black people or to be racist or anything, but if you get out what you put in, garbage in, garbage out. That's old school. Raising Dion, that is something from Netflix. Yes, smart, funny, and even the shows with mixed casts, just a very nice, diverse cast, because we are not living in we're not living in a fishbowl. There are other people out there, and we do interact with them. So yeah, as Amazon has some Black centered shows as well. Yes. Oh, the coffee stream bot is in the house. So visit the coffee page. This is for Sinister Silhouettes, but anything that supports Sinister Silhouettes, it's the same. I'm the same artist. It's going to support After the Snap as well. You can buy me a taco, because I was like, no, y'all ain't got to buy me coffees. You can buy me a taco over on the coffee website, coffee page. Miss Powell says it's at the end of Star Trek Beyond. I think Rihanna's song is from Jayla's point of view, and the video was so good. The video was so good. So I appreciate you reminding me, or not even reminding me, because I just don't remember it. But I appreciate you bringing it to my attention, because I did look that song up and I enjoyed it. Yes, Miss Powell, because Transformers Earthspark, I started watching that. Didn't finish, but I did enjoy what I did see. I tried to get some people on board with me, and sometimes I get peer pressured into leaving it alone so we can talk about the things that everybody else want to talk about. But I do intend to go back and watch the rest of Transformers Earthspark unless they decide to pull the plug on it. Oh gosh. So we got some quotes from Alex Kurtzman from New York Comic Con. First one was, so we are back on our feet after the writer strike with Section 31. He said it is happening. Michelle Yeoh is just the most extraordinary person on every level. Yeah, you better say that, because she's an important part of this thing, right? She had one of the most unbelievable years that anybody could ever have in the history of ever, and she had a million opportunities to hit the jackpot on it and do other things. And what she did with all of the power she had accrued is make sure that Section 31 was moving forward. So if she wasn't, kind of forced by some kind of contract or the such, it just gives me one more reason to love Michelle Yeoh, and I loved her anyway. So it wasn't, hard to keep that love alive for Michelle Yeoh. She is most certainly one of my fast favorites as far as the performances that she put in, especially the last few years that she has had, particularly capping it off with that spectacular movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which, by the way, if you're watching Loki, and I ain't gonna say too much about it because I don't know how many people are caught up, I'm getting very Everything Everywhere All at Once vibes. And we got Ki Hu Kwan, y'all know what I'm trying to say, Ki Hui Kwan. I hope I'm saying it right. We got him, who was playing Michelle Yeoh's husband in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and who made his debut back to the big screen with that movie. He's in Loki playing Ouroboros, and he's doing a fantastic job. And I am getting big Everything Everywhere All at Once energy from Loki. Okay. No more comments. Okay. Moving on then. Oh, I thought I had another quote from let me make sure. I thought I had another quote, but since I don't have it pulled up, let's just share this tab, because I do have it pulled up on my computer. So we'll share this tab. Of course, it's not this is not a link that you will find in the description. So it's a good thing that I am sharing sharing the screen, so you guys will know that this story has come to us from trekmovie.com. It's talking about Alex Kurtzman giving Section 31 an Academy updates. We're going to slide on down past this nice picture of Alex Kurtzman at New York Comic Con. We're going to slide on down past that. Y'all see where I didn't highlighted that, because that's where I took that quote from. They're also talking about Starfleet Academy. And of course, writing was shut down due to the writer strike. But Kurtzman says they are back at work. And he also reminded the crowd that Tawny Newsome is part of the writer's room on this show. That, to me, is indicative of how Trek has always comported itself, which is the people that we see, not necessarily in front of the camera for Tawny, but the voices and the characters that we see also have an opportunity to grow in other areas of their career under the Star Trek umbrella. So I love it. I like it. So Kurtzman says, we are back in the writer's room. We're officially going to start shooting next year. Noga Landau, the amazing Noga Landau, and himself, they are running it. For all the Nancy Drew fans out there, she's incredible. Not familiar with the show. Of course, I'm familiar with the character. I'm not familiar with the show. Obviously, it was something that was aimed at a teen tween audience, and I didn't get on board with it. But obviously, that is a feather in her cap, because they would not be saying, hey, if you like this, then you'll like that. First of all, it's the greatest writing staff. That is what Kurtzman is continuing on with. We had so much joy just getting each other through the strike, staying connected and driven, and coming back into the room and working was so wonderful. We just came back this week, as a matter of fact, and one of our writers is, in fact, Tawny Newsome, which is really exciting because she is a genius. He also talked up why he is excited about this series. He said, what I'm so excited about the start with Starfleet Academy is that it's really important that every show really has its own distinct identity. Otherwise, what's the difference between one or the other? And I think fans were waiting over 60 years to go inside the chocolate factory and see what's like in there. And when you're in Starfleet Academy, you're not yet on a ship proper. And so you get to make mistakes and you get to learn who you are and figure all that out. I think that this idea that the generation is inheriting, and then he goes on, I look at my son and we look at kids now, they're inheriting all these massive, massive challenges. Then the question becomes, how do you hold on and rebuild all the hope? And I think that's what our show is so much about. It's really fun, it's really funny, and it's ultimately a show that speaks to the generation now. And that's this question of how are our better angels going to emerge, and what are they going to do to get us there? Because it is going to be on the next generation to do that. So start Strange New World season 3 shoot is still shifting. Season 3 was about to start before the strike. They're back on their feet trying to get everything settled as far as the writing. Schedules are shifting around, but it's definitely in the works. And Alex Kurtzman goes on to say that they can't wait. Final season of Discovery is still coming in 2024. I think we kind of ascertained that, but for the more casual fan, maybe that was for them. He said they finished it. It's going to be airing early next year. Still no date. Still no date. It's an incredibly satisfying ending to a show that is so near and dear to his heart. Hey, baby, let us be the judge of whether or not it's a satisfying ending. I'm pretty sure every writer's room everywhere thought they had a satisfying ending until they didn't. Anywho, Sonequa Martin Green gave the performance of her life, and he says he thinks we're going to love it. So hopefully Alex Kurtzman is correct, and we indeed love it. If not, we might have problems. Let me see. Miss Powers. Yes, and he's Eugene Cordero is in Loki, and he's in it a bit more than he was in season 1, right? And no matter how you piece it together, I liked him on screen, even in season 1, especially when the drawer full of freaking Infinity Stones, and he got some good moments in season 1. It looks like we're going to see a lot more of him in season 2, and I'm very happy for that, extremely. We'll talk about Loki some more, because there are some things that's like right here that I want to talk about, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Clarence says, my biggest question about Academy is when in the timeline. Now, this is Tasha assuming things, but if we take what Alex Kurtzman says and said here, and we try to dissect, try to figure it out just a little bit, I'm going to tell you what makes me think that it's set in the Discovery section of the timeline, all the way down there in the 30-something century. He said, where's it at? He said, gotta find it. The question becomes, how do you hold on and rebuild all the hope? The fact that he said the word rebuild makes me feel like this was a fallen academy, and that we are about to see the first class of the reemergence of Starfleet Academy. That is what I have taken from what Alex Kurtzman has said. And again, that is only my opinion. This is not something that I've heard from anywhere else. That is it's just what Tasha thinks. And sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm wrong. Shit. But that sounds to me, the word rebuild thrown in there makes me feel like we're going to see in the Discovery era. And that makes me hold out hope that we'll get to see some of the characters that we have come to like and love. And Clarence, we were thinking the same thing at the same time. Hopefully, if it's in the disco era, they have plenty of disco cameos. I honestly believe that it was set up. It's starting to be set up for Tilly at the absolute least to be an instructor, and to get up front and a pivotal role in this. Not that her role wasn't pivotal in in what's the name of it, Discovery, but I think the role becomes more pivotal if she becomes an instructor at Starfleet Academy. And then, like everybody else say, we're gonna get the teen angst and all of that, but we have a more mature Tilly being an inspiration for these new cadets. And Miss Powell says that's what the initial tag paragraph for Starfleet Academy was about, the first class in many years. You're right. You are right. I remember now what it said. Yep. So it all makes sense. Yep. It all makes sense now that we are going to see a rebuilding academy after the burn had like ended Starfleet pretty much for all of those years, for over a century, right? So you got over a century without Starfleet Academy. And then we started seeing a trickle in of some new Starfleet ensigns and coming in under Tilly in the past season of Discovery. But I guess possibly potentially those kids and some more will be part of the cast. We're gonna see probably a whole lot more coming up soon. But those are the things that I take away. And Miss Powell definitely is remembering some stuff that I forgot as far as what they said in that tagline when they were recruiting for the new Starfleet. Okay, so A Few Badgeys More is this week's episode. A Few Badgeys More. So just like expected, A Few Badgeys More means we're going to see Badgey, right? And I was happy to see Badgey make his reappearance. He's a funny character. We got a peek of him last season to let us know that we gonna see more of Badgey, and here he is. So I was unfamiliar. I didn't remember this particular species, and I've already forgotten what let me go back to to notes because I've already forgotten what the name of the freaking species was. Let's go back, Tasha. Go back to notes so that I don't just sit here and keep telling y'all all the things that I forgot. I'm telling you, I am probably a strong candidate for having dementia at some point in my life because I promise I can't remember ish. So the eyepiece of Rutherford was retrieved by the Drukmani, and the Drukmani were like, "Oh, look, we found something. There's some Starfleet tech." And then it turns out that it was holding Badgey, and Badgey used that to make his escape and to be in a safe environment so that he can wreak havoc on the Cerritos, because he feels like that he was abandoned by Rutherford, even though he was evil and he tried to kill him. We still get Badgey making his evil return, and we find out there's more to Badgey. than what we thought. But also, if that wasn't enough evil AI, we got all of the evil AIs that we have seen in Star Trek Lower Decks, and I think a couple more back here. We got them all having a therapy session, and we are seeing some progress. We're seeing some progress. Um, the big three in this one, as far as the AI went, was Badgie, Agamus, and Peanut Hamper, which I think that that's who we wanted to see, especially if it means we're getting Jeffrey Combs back once again as Agamus, and we saw a softer side of all three AI, even though they were still plotting uh, and conniving. We still got to see we got to see Agamus show his softer side in his friendship with Peanut Hamper. We got to see Peanut Hamper show her softer side when she realized, hey, I was wrong for effing uh being two-faced, because she's very duplicitous. So we might find out that Peanut Hamper wasn't sorry at all, but for right now, she says she was sorry, and she realized that she was wrong for the way she did things and the way she left Starfleet. And so we see her redeeming quality, I guess, is that she can admit that she made a mistake. And then we also see the redeeming qualities of Badgie when we saw his alter egos torn out of him, or his repressed personalities torn out of him, which resulted in Cudi and Logicy. And Logicy left a little bit to be desired. I think Cudi was exactly what we thought. He was not Badgie. Bad AI gone good. Yes. It's like anything in Starfleet has a redeeming quality, I suppose, or anything in the Star Trek universe. You can find a redeeming quality in almost anyone. We also learned that, hey, one of these AIs has information about this ship that's been going around, quote unquote, destroying other ships. We find out that they weren't destroying other ships. Sorry. We find out that this ship wasn't destroying other ships. It was it was stealing them. So it goes to somebody said, is this about weapons? It might be about technology, period. Maybe it's about the tech, and they're stealing the entire ship and then making it appear that they destroyed the ship, so nobody would come looking for this ship. But we're finding out that, oh, no. These ships have not been destroyed. These people are not gone, or the people, the people on the ships are not gone. They are somewhere being transported somehow by this mystery ship. I don't know. Are they shrinking the ships down to size so they can fit all these ships inside their own? I guess we got to wait to see how this thing turns out. But I am so glad that every week we get another kernel. It's nothing that's forgotten about. We get one more piece to the puzzle, and it's keeping me hooked, very invested in what's going on with this mystery ship and who is behind uh the taking of these ships, the abduction of these crews. But they have to be shrinking the ship for it to fit inside that ship, right? We're gonna find out. Clarence, yep, Logicy was basically a Vulcan. Yes. And that's why I said, I don't know. He just left a bit to be desired, because where did this Vulcan persona come from inside this AI if it wasn't created by a Vulcan? I can imagine a Vulcan putting or a Vulcan type personality being present if it was created by a Vulcan. But for the most part, we know the only person that we know that was involved with the creation of Badgey was Rutherford, who is very human, unless, I mean, besides his android parts, he's very human. So I can understand why there would be the good and bad aspects. And I guess all of us have a logical aspect to us. But that one came across very Vulcan, just like Clarence said, very Vulcan. Oh my God. If it's the Packlets, I'll be disappointed. And we'll be talking about, don't talk about the mystery ship, just like we say, don't talk about the burn, because that would be a disappointment. Now, have we seen Packlets this season? Were the Packlets one of the ships stolen or abducted? Remind me. Remind me. Even though I have been keeping my brain turned on far more often, I am forgetting the details of some of these episodes because I'm not watching them back to back multiple times like I will the live action stuff. I still can't bring myself to watch it more than once. Computer logic was the play. Okay, makes sense. It makes sense. No Packlets so far. So please don't let this be no damn Packlets. I'm not going to be excited if it's the Packlets, unless they really stick the landing. But I ain't gonna be excited if it's the Packlets. I can see why they would do it though. The Packlets be like, would they need technology from other species to complement the stuff that they've already taken from different species. So I can understand why it could be the Packlets. I just don't want it to be. I just don't want it to be. Clarence says, I liked it because he shared. Okay, he said, I liked it because he shared every part that Kirk and or the Star Trek officers have used to dismantle AI. Um, and yeah, everything that they've ever done was like, nope, none of that stuff is on the table for this. None of that stuff is on the table. He must have learned that you're not that's if you're gonna do away with me, it ain't gonna be one of the ways that you've done before. Let's see. The binars. I was kind of surprised but pleased to see the binars and their 0 and 1 type of civilization, and how they were also taken by the by the mystery ship. Um, and it kind of makes me lean a little bit more into what Clara said. Hopefully, it's not the Packlets. Everybody that has been abducted so far has, in some way, shape, or form, been a foil for the Federation. In fact, in some aspects, they have beaten Starfleet in certain battles. They've won a battle against a Starfleet ship. So if I were the Packlets and I wanted to take technology, I would want to take it from species who have been successful against Starfleet. And I had not thought about that until Clarence brought these Packlets up, and now I'm not going to be able to unthink it. That sounds like a motive for taking all of these ships. The Orions was, a happy accident, but everybody else was somebody who you would target to get their information and their knowledge of Starfleet if you were an enemy of Starfleet and you have not yet attacked a Starfleet ship. We'll see. But I was happy to see the Binars again. We saw we saw the crew of the Cerritos be taken by surprise that Badgey was behind some of the things. They thought that this was something that had something to do with these ships disappearing, when it's really just Badgey trying to lure them in so that he can get his sweet, sweet revenge on his quote unquote father. But yeah, they did the lower deckers in this episode, especially our 4 main lower deckers who have just seen themselves get these promotions. They are being entrusted with far more responsibility than ever. And quite honestly, they have lived up to having being responsible enough to handle what's being handed to them. We are seeing growth from these characters. I'm so shocked and surprised that I can actually say that the characters are maturing right in front of our eyes. Ooh, that's even better. Because we're right, we got the nod to Boimler. It has not been touched upon again. So is William Boimler trying to steal tech with Section 31? And it would almost be the same principles. These are all species who have been foils to Starfleet, and we want to know all of their intelligence. So let's bring them on in. Clarence says, after Subspace Rhapsody, you would think the Federation would have safeguards against subspace messages causing havoc. And yeah, and that happened way back. You know, one thing that we have learned, when we put all these series together, even though they're not in, they're made all out of order, right? But when we put all these series together, Starfleet is notoriously bad for not learning from their mistakes. We see the same mistakes being repeated over and over by different crews, and you would think that this would be something that would be mandatory training for anybody getting a ship after some of the stuff that we have already seen, specifically what you are talking about as far as subspace messages being an issue. Why didn't they learn that back then? I don't know. Miss Powell, you are stating something. What I'm feeling, I've missed Talian these past 2 weeks. I cannot wait till we get to more Talian, because she is missed. When she's not on screen, I miss her. And there are, I guess, things that she could be useful for in these 2 episodes. But I'm pretty sure they are saving her for something good. So keeping my fingers crossed that we'll see her in our next episode. That Will Boimler theory is fantastic. I'm 100% with you on that, and it's a solid pull. Yeah. And Ms. Powell says, somebody said on another channel that all of these evil AIs may be part of banning synths after the attack on Mars. Ooh, that's a good thought too, because up to this point, synthetic life forms, so be it, so be it, let them live. But once you got all these crazy EIs, now you got all these crazy AIs running around, and you have this mass attack on Mars, and it makes sense to be like, we don't need no parts of artificial intelligence at all. But we also, I'm trying to think now, do we see more? Yeah, we also see that there is no ban on AI when we get to the later Discovery years, because they allowed Zora to exist, right? So we know that at some point there will, well, we know that they made good on that, because Picard is technically artificial intelligence, and they allowed him to be part of Starfleet still. Yeah, good point. Especially since we saw Daystrom again too. Yes, Talen's old ship was seen this episode with Badgie with Super Saiyan. Oh gosh, I didn't see it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I can't make my mouth work, and I'm telling you, it's gonna be because I'm gonna have to go in this kitchen and create something because this is no food here, and I think my brain is foggy because it's like, girl, you need to eat. Anywho, um, what the heck? Oh, the grappler. I'm glad I got these little slides. The grappler thing is it's a callback. I do, honey. Yes, you're right. I need some orange juice, and I got some orange juice, and I need it because it's like I'm all confused, and hopefully it's not coming across that way. But yes, I'm bottoming out. I'm bottoming out. Um, the grappler joke, not joke. The grappler mention came back. It came back from Star Trek Strange New Worlds when they were like grapplers are cool, and this was of course Boimler and Mariner. Well, now we get them defending grapplers again in this episode, and I enjoyed seeing that as well. Um, yeah, and I'm looking at this ship, like I keep saying, I'm looking at this ship, and I'm like, this ship is not big enough to take these other ships inside of it and at the current size, so they have to be shrinking these ships, right? What's up, Win Grace? Glad to see you back, sir. uh, I'm going to I'm gonna be moving through these kind of quick because it's like Miss I'm getting nervous. And just like Miss Powell said, I think I need to put something in me because this ain't right with how I'm feeling. um but yeah, Badgie, he made it Time Lord technology. That to me could be something that we don't know what they use and how they're using it, why they're using something is making it making it able for them, unless that ship, like you say, is bigger on the inside. Something is making that ship, these ships being able to get inside the mystery ship. And my my theory has been that the ships are shrinking, but it can also be that ship is just bigger on the inside. Oh gosh. Let's see. And then we got Cudi. I like Cudi. I think I got, is my Beyond the Holodeck here? Yep, Beyond the Holodeck is right here, y'all. Do we think Cudi is going to be a series regular on Lower Decks? And if so, should he be? So if we think that he's going to be a series regular, are we in agreement with keeping Cudi around? Now, I posed the question, but I'm going to give you an answer as well. Wingray says, in Enterprise, they encountered a time ship that was bigger on the inside. Here we are. That means there is precedent for in our Star Trek universe, because I don't remember. You're going to have to remind me of the episode. You can remind me at any time. But I and I lost my train of thought. Oh, there is precedent, if that is the case, for ships being bigger on the inside. So maybe we didn't need to shrink these ships down to get them inside of this mystery ship. Maybe if the ship is just is bigger than it looks. It's bigger than the TARDIS, so it might be twice as big inside as the TARDIS. And the TARDIS is pretty darn big. Gosh. So tell me, guys, if you guys think that we'll see Cudi as a series regular on Lower Decks, and if so, do you like that idea? Because I do. I like Cudi, and we don't have to see him every week like I prefer to see my Tallinn. However, I do think that there is stuff that he would bring to the table as a Starfleet, a member of Starfleet, and staying on the Cerritos. Wait until next season when Cudi gets a body. Well, shoot, I mean, technically, he got little legs coming out from the bottom of his delta side, and he got little arms moving around on the sides. So, does that constitute a body? Oh gosh, there's so much that I enjoyed about this episode. Um, future tense. Look, Miss Powell says, I don't know, but she loved that the other lower deckers were like, nope, nobody wants Cudi because the potential that Cudi, I guess, still has potential to be bad, even though he is the antithesis of bad G. He still wouldn't he still have the potential to turn out to be like his other half. He showed some maniacal tendencies at the end of the episode. So there's the possibility, a potentiality that he can be evil. Even though Badgey has transcended being evil, and I don't have a slide that shows us Badgey when he transcended. I really wish I did. I wish I would have picked up the screenshot, because when he ascended, it looked just like when that guy from season 1, was that season 1? When that guy ascended, and that first time that we saw the koala and all of this, Badgey had a similar experience when he ascended. And excuse me, he said, hey, he's going to go out there and meet some of the, or start himself another universe. So is there an opportunity for us to see Badgey again in the future as the quote unquote deity or creator of a new culture way out there in another galaxy? I think so. I think we have a potential chance of meeting the creation of Badgey in the future, and I just wonder what that will look like. And we got the mention of the Q and all of that stuff. I'm wondering if we're going to meet the other guy, and I know somebody knows who I'm talking about. This episode might be the most reserved we've seen Boimler. Boimler, actually, everything he did in this episode was so calculated, and he has grown bored with evil AI, but he's like, man, it's necessary for me to play into this ish just to get the answers that we need. So Boimler was pretty much a straight person. Him and Tendi were very straight in this episode. And even though Tendi was talking about the beaches on the Orion, or sharp shards of stone and glass or something, so there were funny moments, and but at the same time, like Clarence points out, this was a reserved Boimler. This was not over the top zany slapstick Boimler. This was, I'm bored. You got me out here messing around with these evil AI again, and all I want is the answers that I'm looking for. And his arc, his mission was a very important one, and their mission was they succeeded. They got the answer. They got the answer from Agamus by playing into and playing to his ego, because Agamus is a narcissist, and by also just being patient. They didn't push it. Miss Powell said, goodness without logic may be just as dangerous. And that's true. There's such thing as there's a reason why most religions or philosophical organizations or philosophical thought processes and groups have a good and a bad, that there is a certain amount of balance that the opposite brings us. We need bad to appreciate good. Sometimes if everything is always good, that's bad. I don't know. When Grace says, I like Cudi occasionally. Maybe they can use him for a too much of a good thing story. That's pretty much, and that I think that is very complimentary to what Miss Powell just said. Too much of a good thing. Goodness without logic may be just as dangerous. So I like that. And Clarence is also agreeing that with Miss Powell, I'm sorry, that they might think humans are the problem. And then we find out that nope, that it is we are a problem. But if you take us out of the equation, there's still going to be an issue somewhere in some way, shape, or form. There are still issues, even in Starfleet or even in the Star Trek universe. I can't say in Starfleet. Even in the Star Trek universe, there are worlds that never saw a human that have issues, and they're very human issues. And there are other worlds that we have gone to, and we're like, ain't no issues. Wasn't no issues until we showed up. So there's precedent for what you all are saying. Ms. Powell said, I love the Star Trek the Motion Picture callbacks with Badgey being one with the universe. You're going to have to remind me, baby. I don't even remember. I seen the movie, and y'all know, and I guess I better, yeah, because the memory is like fading. But I'm trying to remember how Badgey being one with the universe ties into it. Remind me. Make me understand, because I'm not here. Miss Powell is going to quote us some scripture in the Bible. Heart, mind, soul, and strength. Without logic, Cudi could help them, but not understand organic needs. So heart, mind, soul, and strength. So Cudi, right? He doesn't. He understands that he is the opposite of Badgey, but he might not understand the knowledge. What is it? The knowledge of good and evil. He might not get it if he doesn't have the knowledge of evil in him. How much help can he be? I suppose, or would that be an interesting way to come back, like Wingrave says, and like you said, goodness without logic? Maybe that's something that they're going to have to do to fix Cudi in the future. They'll have to introduce him to evil, because without evil, he's too naive to be of any use to anyone but himself, right? Maybe not even to himself. Wingrave says, I think it was Star Trek 6 when they brought up humanitarian, and the Klingons called us out that even our language is racist. Out of the mouths of Klingons come wisdom. Right. Miss Commander, yes, okay, I get it. Commander Decker merged with V'ger at the end of Star Trek the movie and transcended the universe. So yes, we got that is a callback. I gotta watch them movies again to put them back on the top of my mind. It's been forever and ever. But yeah, I need to get back into the movies. And maybe that's something that we could talk about between us, moving past Star Trek after the season of Lower Decks is over. Maybe that's something that we can do, is talk about these movies in depth, so y'all can put me back and center me. Something is smelling like garlic in that kitchen, so maybe somebody found something to cook. Lord have mercy. But anyway, Yeah. So maybe that will be that'll be how we fill the time, a little bit of it anyway, because I do want to talk about these other properties. Oh, now what else was I gonna say? I done lost my train of thought. I done forgot. At the end of it all, oh, wait a minute, it has something to do with Badgie. It has something to do with Badgie. Now, what the hell was it? I can't remember. I can't remember. Or maybe it had nothing to do with Badgie. Every time we see um, a corporeal being, and I guess I can't say every time because that is being um, very literal. It's not every time, but it is a lot of times we see the merging of something stronger with humanity or a human creation. We see how all of that can go wrong, and you said Commander Decker, he transcended the universe, but okay, we don't know what went on with Commander Decker. But then we saw Mitchell in the original series, and we can push forward from there. Every time somebody got some godlike abilities, things went left. So hopefully that's not something that happens with Badgie or with this other guy who we haven't seen again, who went super Saiyan. Oh gosh. And Peanut Hamper, you was reminding me, trying to put me on track. I don't be knowing what I'm thinking about sometimes, and I truly, I don't know. But I think that I was gonna go with like the whole Mitchell thing and how starting with Mitchell and moving forward. Well, even with Control, when we saw that merge with that one, but you don't watch Discovery, so that wouldn't be one that you would get. But the yeah, when they start merging these things together, stuff that is not it's just never ends well. It always gets to, I got all this power and yet I still want more. So hopefully we don't see that with Badgie, because Badgie, you got power, you got enough. What more could you want? What would you do with all that power? I feel like that was a Kanye West reference, or accidental one though. um, let me see what else. What else? What else? Oh, my rating, huh? I'll give this one a 4 as well. I liked it. I think that the season is continuing to impress me. It is growing up our lower deckers. The humor has become far more bearable for me, and I don't know if that's because I have just come to accept this show for exactly what it is. But we all know that this show has not been as far out as it was the first 2 seasons. I watched one of my old reviews the other day. Now I don't know what the hell made me choose that review to watch, but I watched the one about the Mugato Gamato from I think it was season 2, and we were talking, and in it I was talking about uh and I always do this. Here's my weekly shout out to Discussing Trek. But I had watched Discussing Trek have their conversation about, I think it was a different episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, and Clarence's brother Carrie, who was in that group, is like the more casual Star Trek fan. He pointed out back then, have you guys noticed that there is always some sexual innuendo in the show? And everybody on the panel that was on the panel that day said they had not paid attention. And I'm sitting at home and I was even thinking, I didn't pay attention either. I don't be picking up sexual innuendos. And then that next episode, I said to myself, self, I'm gonna keep my eyes open and see if there is some, sexual innuendo in this episode. And God, was Carrie ever right? In this episode, the Magato Gamato, y'all remember the episode? We got to see some Star Trek Yetis slapping cheeks. And then we also got to see one of them, and this was the part that really effed me up. While he's watching these two Yetis banging it out in front of them, he is stroking the horn on the top of his head. And I'm like, that's not innuendo. And that might be the season where I was like, they're just doing too much. They doing too much with this series. And now look at how much more calm this series is. And this is not to say that they don't still make, off color jokes, but even their off color jokes are not, to me, as off color as the Magato Gamato Star Trek Yeti doing what he was doing. Girl, and people, because I'm saying girl, because like right now it seems like the only person that's in this conversation with me is Miss Powell. I was like, it was almost secondhand embarrassment watching that episode. And then I went on my little rant, like, I can't watch this episode with my niece. My niece at the time was, I think, 13. I'm like, I can't watch this episode with my nieces. This content is a little too mature, only to find out that she was watching Euphoria, same damn year. And I'm like, I had to tell my sister, I was like, do you know what that show is about? You need to watch that show with her. Watch it with her and see if you want her watching it. And I know I can become one of the most hated aunties on earth because I'm going to tell. That's one thing I'm going to do. You let me find out, I'm going to tell. But anywho, when Kes ascended, it was gold until they brought her back. Yeah, they brought her back and shit, it went left. It always goes left. We can't just leave it right. The shit just goes left every single time. Somebody ascends, if they got any semblance, if they look like a human, they coming back bad. It's just something about carbon-based life forms. It's just something about us. What did that one species call us? Bags of meat. Boy. 3.9. I just don't like Badgey, but enjoyed the resolution. And I honestly, for as interested as I was in the Badgey side of this episode, I also really, really liked the Agamis arc of the episode, only because we saw them playing at Agamis and Peanut Hamper being what the other one thought they wanted them to be, even though they had outgrown some of their negative tendencies. So yeah, I like that side of it too. And yep, 3.9 is totally fair because I gave it a 4, so shit. Seems similar in a way to the Orville. They established themselves and then toned it down and took themselves seriously. You're 100% correct, because I did not like season 1.5 of the Orville, but everything after that has been so well done. First season of the Orville, I didn't like it. Everything after that was very well done. First season and a half. And then once it got its stride, bam, it was perfect. The Orville is a great series, and if you have not yet watched it, and if you watch it and season 1 isn't for you, stick with it. Continue to give it a chance. I'm so glad whoever talked me into continuing to watch it that I listened, because the last 2.5 seasons, great seasons. Bags of mostly water. That's what it was. And they called them ugly and everything. Your ugly bags of mostly water. Oh gosh. It's interesting that this episode concluded the evil AI storylines, which makes me sad because I do want to see um, Jeffrey Combs back. And I truly, we still have the potential to see him back. Agamus is still living, and these other AI are still there. And I feel like it would be a wasted opportunity to not find a way to bring the AI back. They don't have to be evil anymore because the evil AI storyline might be perfect, wrapped up, and it's got a bow on it. All three of these evil AI found themselves in better positions after being locked up in Starfleet AI prison. Clarence also gives it a 4. Yep, I think we have been close on most of these episodes. Me and Clarence are thinking has been close. Sometimes, I dip a little lower. I want to say most of the time. Most of the time I dip a little lower, but we've been in the same neighborhood for the past few weeks now. Yep. Hey there, Lysandra. Lysandra bought me this shirt. This says, I have 2 titles, Mom and Gigi, and I rock them both. And like I said, we are getting ready for the to do pictures with the children. So I can't wait to see what the pictures come out, how they look. And if these kids gonna cooperate. Now, Ashton, he might cooperate. He's old enough that if I be like, oh, look, sit still, he'll sit still. But Amira, she is the wild card. She is the wild card. Win Grace also is saying right around the 4. 4 is a good neighborhood. So we got 4, 3.9. We looking at like maybe a 3.95 as the collective, and I think that's good. The Win Grace went on to say, I feel like I was the only one harsh on last episode though. Everything ain't for everybody. That's for doggone sure. There's been some episodes that y'all loved, and I was like, oh, it was okay. Whole fucking series that everybody loved, and I'm like, yeah, it was all right. Like the season of Picard, I'm like, yeah, that was really all right. Everybody's like, oh, it's the best thing, and we need more. And I'm like, yep, it was all right. It was pretty good. So yeah. Is there anything else that we want to discuss before I get out of here? I gotta eat something, and it is really bad. Yeah, I gotta find some food, y'all. I got some tuna in here. Now, push come to push, I can eat some tuna because it's going. I just gotta, when you have those when you have diabetes, if your sugar drops too low, it's almost as bad or probably just as bad as your sugar being too high. And I think that's where we are right now. So I need to get on my square. Let's see. Miss Powell got the next episode is caves. Who do we think is in the classic Stuck in a Cave Together episode? I really hope that we find a way for it to be Talian and somebody, but that might be asking for too much. I can't think of who I would imagine. Oh, unless we get Rutherford and Tindy. But any excuse to see Rutherford and Tindy for me. For me, any excuse to see Rutherford and Tindy. And now Talian. So if we can get the 3 of them in this cave, and Talian is trying to be logical, like y'all like each other. Y'all like each other, and y'all need to just quit playing and be in a relationship because Tasha said so. Yeah, I like that. That needs to be some fanfic that I write. When Grace says, I consider Picard season 3 a movie and include it on my movie rankings, not really as a season. I can see why that would be. The only part of Picard season 3 that I would pull out, I feel like they moved around too long with the whole Nebula thing, even though I know they wanted to um bring in some classic Star Trek uh finding a new species and the exploration side of things, accidental finds of Star Trek. I know they wanted to bring that in there, but I think they hung out there a little too long for me. That's just me. But did what they did with it was fine, but you can see that it was a lot of that was just padding the season. And I know I'm not going to get complete agreement on that, and that's okay. Miss Powell says, I think that we do need more after Picard, more DS9 aftermath, or after Picard, right? More DS9 aftermath, etc. I'm with you. I'm with you when you write, girl. Because the DS9 period after Cisco ascended, and we haven't found out the negative implications of that, but after Cisco ascended, we don't know a whole lot about what went on. And that to me is a lot of story that is still worth telling. We shall see if they are on the same page as us, Miss Powell. Wingray says maybe they're trapped in a cave until they admit how they feel to each other. Ooh, they might be in there for a while because I think they were in strong denial. Hi. Hello. What you eating in there? Come here. Come here and say hello. Come here. Oh, Phantoms. Oh, you're getting so big, man. They ain't seen you. They ain't seen you in a little while, man. So let me see now. We got to get in the center here. Yeah, I told you. Ashton is a very busy man. So we haven't been able to get on the right schedule, but here he is. He is making his. Oh no. Don't grab that. Ransom and Mariner. Ooh, we would find out about her trauma finally. I think that's a good. Wait a minute. Are you gonna cooperate, or are you going? I was just talking about how good you cooperate, but now look at you. You don't look cooperative right now. Yeah, we could find out more about her trauma. I think I would like that better than no. Okay, Ashton. Ashton. Monte Brown. Your hair is curly. Your hair is curly like mine. Okay, go back with mommy because you I can tell you got stuff on your mind, some stuff that you want to get into over here. Yeah. Go on and you say hi. Say okay. Tell everybody. Say everybody bye. See you next time. I got more work to do behind the scenes. I'm gone. Me and oh, you gotta see his t-shirt though. This shirt a little bit big on. Oh, Gigi is my bestie. Gigi is my bestie. Okay. Go on back to mommy because you're trying to get into stuff. And I can't kiss you because I got on lipstick, man. And I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to have that all over your face. Go on back. You look so nice. You look so nice. Yay! Oh, he said I got to perform for the people. I'm here. I might as well put a show on. Okay. Grandma, see you later. Alligator. See you later, alligator. Go to mommy. Go to mommy. Woo. Chunky butt. All right. Yeah, the whole world. I think everybody in here need to eat something. Yeah. Oh, okay. Wingray says there was definitely padding, but what they were able to do with the slashed budget was pretty impressive. Yeah. Especially, I mean, the budget, let's be real, the budget wasn't slashed. They use it to build the whole freaking enterprise. They built that set. We know that cost some money. We also know that to bring that crew back together was not cheap. So was the budget really slashed, or did we use it on different areas of production? And I think that we'll find that they had the budget, but they wouldn't have been able to tell the story that they wanted to tell because they decided, they made some creative decisions. Clarence says, I don't like that they used ideas that could have been flushed out as a whole season. And that to me is another part of the issue, another part of the problem. But I mean, again, I liked what they did. So do not come for me. And this is for people who watch it after you know, you guys are the people who are here with me every week. And this is a discussion that we have. And then sometimes people who watch it later will add their little comments. And because, you know, maybe they're just dropping in once or twice or just stumbled upon the show. And if they get this far in, because retention for me ain't as great as it should be, but if they get this far in, they feel like I'm sometimes picking on Picard because I always bring it up, especially season 3. I always bring up season 3. And this because there needs to be an alternate narrative of a person who is looking at it with a more critical eye than not saying that everybody's not looking at it with a critical eye and they just didn't enjoy it. I'm saying that these are the things that I found problematic about season 3. Season 3 was a good season, but not without its problems. Yeah. Changelings could have been a whole season. Changelings didn't even have to be involved. I said it. We didn't even need the changelings. We could have used any other species in the whole catalog. Some of the stuff that I was just coming up with, like, oh, it might be them and it might be that. That was better choices than changelings, especially when we get to the end and the changelings are not the villains. They're not the main villains. So it was really, we just going to use the changelings for the sake of using the changelings. But I'm not going to rehash my Star Trek season 3 or Star Trek Picard season 3 gripes. I'm just not. They could have blended episodes 7 and 8, the hostage plot, into an 80-minute episode. And that's another thing. We try to adhere to every episode being X amount long. When in streaming, you can have these episodes be as long as you want them to be. And like you said, episodes 7 and 8 wasn't nothing but the whole first 2/3 of season of episode 8 was just rehashing what we learned in episode 7. And like you said, could have been one episode, 80 minutes, and there's nobody can gripe about that. And some of the other episodes, if you need to cut out a little bit of the fluff, just a little bit, you know, you don't need a lot of, you don't need any fluff in a streaming series, right? But we could have made those episodes either shorter or made the season shorter. But yeah, there was a lot of ways that they could have improved on something that was good, because it was already a pretty darn good final season of Star Trek Picard. And Wingray says, I picture every time dumb stuff happens in Star Trek, Cisco is just looking down and shaking his head like, look, man, do I got to intervene again? I haven't intervened in a lot. I've done a lot for y'all behind the scenes that y'all didn't know about. Been pulling strings for what seems like 500 or 600 years, because I could keep going back and forth through the timeline. Oh gosh. Look, we got to get, and now I'm about to tell Ashton's business, and I know he hates how much I tell his business. Whether he knows that he hates it or not is a whole nother thing. Miss Powell says I'm gonna have to teach him to bring me an individual orange juice bottle during live streams. First, I'm gonna have to teach him to walk. Ashton is 14 months old, and he refuses refuses to walk. Now, he's taken a few steps this week, which made me extremely happy. But then when I get excited about it, it seems like I don't know if that's scaring him or not, where he won't try again for a while. So there's that. Ashton has to learn how to walk to do that part of the job. And yes, I will need to have him functioning more as an intern. I got a feeling his sister is going to walk a whole lot sooner because she has him to chase after, though. So maybe she'll be my intern to bring me that type of stuff. And I'll tell Ash that you said, hey, bud. Wingray says, if Picard season 3 was done from scratch, I agree. So much missed opportunity. But yeah, we got what we got. It was good. But did I find some things that I didn't like? Of course I did. Were there things that I think could have been done differently? Of course I did. Miss Powell said they wanted the final Borg defeat for Picard, but Borg for 10 episodes would have been boring. The changelings were great for sabotage. And I mean, it were good for substance, the whole make you look this way and it's really what's happening is over here. Because the Borg for Picard would have been boring for 10 episodes unless, and I know that it looking at Patrick Stewart's age, this might have been, a workload that could not have been accommodated unless, of course, you made not the Borg, but Picard versus Locutus. And it would have took Patrick Stewart playing Picard and Locutus. Unless they would have put Locutus in Jack's body, which is what I thought we were going to see happening, and Locutus and Locutus and Picard facing off in that way, and still using the whole appeal that familial love is what wins the day. But I think, and of course, this is me Monday morning quarterbacking a season of TV that I would have liked to have seen done differently. We don't get to do that. We get to say whether what we saw was what I liked or what I didn't like. I can't just sit here and rewrite these people's script, even though if I was doing it, that's the way I would have done it. That's probably a better way of put it. Does he pull up on stuff? Not only that, he pulls up on stuff. He will get up from the floor and stand, but he will not take the steps. Just refuses. And you can see if you were around him, Ashton, a little bit, you would see that he's even getting frustrated because he knows, it's like he knows what we want him to do, but he's so scared to do it. So yeah, we'll see if that changes. Hopefully by the end of the month, we'll get some walking. Miss Powell says, loved season 3, but one crime boss was necessary. Raffi was alone too long. Yep. And she was alone for what? All of 1.5 episodes. 2 episodes. But yeah, that shit wasn't going nowhere when she was by herself. When Worf entered the picture, her arc got far more bearable for me. And she said, I loved the deep characterizations that she never got in the movies. We got to see a little bit more of each one of these characters, and it still left us wanting more because I still want to know who Geordi has his children by. Nope, it ain't none of my business who that man have his kids by. But I want to know. I want to know who is his wife or partner. Wingray says, I may be biased since it's my highest viewed video, but I like my idea of having Locutus become the final threat. That was my idea too, man. That was my idea too. Locutus should have been the final threat. But again, Monday morning quarterback, and you got Tasha sitting here writing. I have been saying that for freaking weeks. I think, and and even though it turned out it was the Borg, it wasn't I think the best use of the Borg. It wasn't the best use of the Borg, especially since we had already seen the Borg be used the season before. Yep. And ultimately, Vatic didn't feel utilized enough. Wasted a good villain because, okay, she wasn't utilized enough. I completely agree. And they killed her. Unless, like I've been saying, unless those little pieces can thaw out somewhere and you got a whole new Vatic. If that is the case, then yep, we get Star Trek Legacy and we can think everything is all good, and then Vatic can show back up. Clarence said, Picard season 3 was good for profit. Non-canon rule of acquisition. The Ferengi strike again. The Paramount Ferengi strike again. So not Parth Ferengi's heart place is Paramount plus Ferengis. It's them. Jack was basically Locutus 2.0. So you basically got Picard versus Locutus. Yeah, I think they could have engaged in a little bit more of fleshing Jack out instead of having him and them fighting in this mind prison. But again, here I am with my little red pen rewriting somebody else's shit. When somebody go look at my videos and be like, girl, now you know you ought to be ashamed of yourself talking about these people and you write like this. Oh gosh. Wingray says, at the end of the day, my biggest gripe is renaming the Titan A to the Enterprise G. I felt some type of way about that too. I thought it was unnecessary. We could see it coming. We saw it coming, but I thought that the way that they could have carried on Picard's name, if they weren't going to tack it on to Jack Crusher, make him Jack Crusher Picard, that we could have kept this series going by naming that ship the USS Picard and then having the adventures of this ship be the ongoing seasons of Picard. But that's again me with my little marker writing shit. Videos get 13 views on them, but I can write a whole damn grand finale for a season of TV. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm about to go in here and eat because she said she made something. I told you I smelled garlic, and garlic on an empty stomach is a sickening smell to me. So I need to go in here and eat. Let's see. We got Caves coming up next. Can't wait to talk about it with y'all. It has been fun this week, as usual. Join me at Clarence's Discussing Trek tomorrow. We got Win Grace, who had a very good review that made me laugh in places up about this same episode that we're talking about today, which I've already forgotten the title of. Win Grace says the behind-the-scenes interview confirms it was going to be Picard M. Huh? It's going to be Picard. Patrick Stewart was told to react to it being the Picard, but they changed their mind later. Well, there you have it. There you have it. I would have liked to have seen Picard myself. Yep. And then we could have kept that series going, baby. Star Trek Picard forever. We could have did that for 7 years. And Star Trek Picard would have still been the people who will be the legacy crew. Whoever they end up choosing for the legacy crew would have still been on that ship. But anywho, I'm getting out of here, y'all. Thank you for being here again. Thank you all for your continued support. Miss Powell, Clarence, over there on Patreon, Win Grace on Win Grace and Lysandra on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Love you so much. Thank you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Live long and prosper. Prosper. Peace.